Welcome to the Whose Turn Is It Anyway, a podcast all about our gaming group and of course board games. I'm Dan, your current first player, and I'm joined by our other players, Rob.
Hi.
Chrissy P.
Hello there.
And Tambo to talk about Sci-Fi versus Fantasy, the Deathmatch.
Hello.
How are we all doing? How's it going, guys?
Yeah, really well.
This is my first rodeo. As first player.
Oh, you're going to smash this.
Am I going to smash it?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see the viewing. We'll see the ratings tail off after this episode. Shall we?
We haven't set the bar very high.
Are we not? Excellent. I don't know where I stand. So, how have we all been?
Really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good weekend. Lots of fun. Lots of games.
Nice.
Which is a rarity for me.
Lots of games.
Yeah, loads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played more games this weekend than I've done in like 3 or 4 weeks.
With the kids, or?
Yeah, kids, Kerley, you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Just got loads in. It was great.
Nice.
So, yeah, really good.
I love a weekend like that. Should we get to it?
Let's do this.
Let's do our first segment. So let's talk about Hex. What have we been up to, folks? Tambo.
Yes. So last week I played a game called Betrayal, The House on the Hill, 3rd edition. I found it fantastic fun. It was great fun. So what's the game? It's probably I would actually class it as a smaller version of Mansions. It's exactly the same kind of thing. You have characters with traits. And it's an exploration. You explore the house on the hill, so it's like a bit like Clank. You're doing exploration, tile changing, and you're about 5 of you. It's probably best played with 5. It's 3 to 6 player, I believe, the game. But I think you need more players, so the more fun it is. So the concept of the game is you choose a scenario. You've got about 6 different scenarios. You could be a bunch of investigators, or you can be a bunch of retailers trying to buy the house. You pick between 6 different kind of scenarios. So you pick one, and then we did the investigator one, and then off you go exploring. So it's the same sort of thing. You have traits, which is speed, sanity, and might, which is all about fighting, and then you have knowledge, which is kind of
Very much like Mansion.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it's a smaller version.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then when you explore tiles, you flip tiles over, and when it turns over, it has the symbols on them. So you have an event symbol, or you have an omen symbol, which are the big ones, or you have an item symbol. So if you have an item, you draw an item. If you have an event, you draw an event card, and it does test exactly like Mansions on might or knowledge, and stuff happens. So you keep exploring. For half the game, it's exploring the mansions, open up all the rooms, and then when you draw an omen card, you have to do a haunting roll. So if you do a 5+ on a roll, then the haunting begins. But it's quite fun because the dice are slightly different. You've got 2 blanks and 2 2s and 1. So there's no 5, 4s, or 6s.
Oh, okay.
So the dice are slightly different. So when everyone draws an omen tile, pick an omen. If anyone else has got any omens, you have to roll that many dice, depending on how many omens between the group you've got. And then 3 omens, 3 dice. And if you roll 5+, then the haunting begins. And then that's when the fun stuff happens.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I just find it quite ironic that given your history of stabbing people in the back, you played a game called Betrayal.
Yeah. Well, this is it.
Shots fired.
So the betrayal part is, it's not like there's a hidden trait. There's different versions of it. You can either have one traitor, which is the general one, I think.
Yeah.
But you don't know who it is. Because the person who actually activates the haunting could be the traitor.
Oh, so it's not like from the beginning.
No, it's all hidden.
Oh, that's quite cool.
Yeah, or you have something else called hidden traitor, which I haven't played yet. I haven't actually had that scenario come up, so I'm not sure how that entails, but it stays hidden somehow, the traitor. Or you have, which is fun, a free-for-all.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so everyone everyone's for themselves, basically. Or you have no traitor, so it stays completely cooperative.
See, I love a co-op game, but I love it when there's a chance of somebody.
Dead of Winter is a bit like that.
We played Dead of Winter, the co-op game, and it's nowhere near as much fun. We found it nowhere near as much fun because we're not accusing each other of being good. That sounds awesome, though.
No, it's good fun. I mean, the replayability is good because you've got a massive booklet on the hero side, which is all the non-traitors, or you've got the traitor booklet. It's quite awkward though, because if you have one traitor, the traitor's got to leave the room because you need to make a plan with the other guys. So he said, "Can you just leave the room a minute?" Like, oh, really? Yeah, we've got to talk, otherwise it's just giving this away.
That's quite cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And the traitor has his own objective as well to complete.
He goes and makes a cup of tea.
Yeah. There is one big thing we know we don't like in a group is player eliminations in it.
Yeah.
But to be fair, my nephew actually killed me, but it was near the end. I think by the time you get to the point where you die, it's probably nearly over anyway.
See, some games I quite like to sit back and watch it. I think Nemesis, I get to a point where I'm like, I'm out, but I want to see how this ends.
Yeah, depends what it is, I suppose.
Yeah.
If you play something like One Ultimate Werewolf or something, the games are quick and it takes 5-10 minutes and the game is finished.
True.
And if you're eliminated, then I suppose you can play a round again. It's not so bad.
I get why if you've played a game for like 4 hours and then you're eliminated, and then you're like, well, now I've got to sit here for like another 2.
Yeah, imagine playing Twilight Imperium or something.
And
you're halfway through and all of a sudden you do lose all your fleet, which it can happen, but that would just be a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I can the more that games come out and the more that the play elimination topic comes up, the more that I hear that people just don't like it, and it seems to be a complete turn off for a lot of people.
Depends on the length of the game, like you said.
That's
Very
100%.
true.
Exactly.
But like you said with Nemesis, though, I quite like it when Nemesis kind of, if you're out, but then you want to see what the conclusion is.
Yeah, and you're seeing what
and then you go,
going
damn
around.
it, I know it.
Yeah,
and I like that.
I quite like that. That's why normally I'll get about halfway through and just be like, do you know what? I'm just getting in a pod.
yeah. I'm off.
And I'm out.
I can't take this anymore.
I want a cup of tea, and I want to see what he's doing.
It's just too stressful.
So I that's when I check out.
Yeah.
So that might be quite nice. But that sounds awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's
I
really...
love mansions. I love Dead of Winter. It's like
Betrayal's good. It's because it's not too complex,
No,
and it's quite. They say that it's quite. I'd say it's probably one step up from a gateway game.
Yeah,
and it does attract quite a few people that are maybe are not so into the hobby like we are.
Yeah, it's probably a starter game for people who come into the hobby, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's really, really simple.
That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah, it's great fun. Really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Nice. Chrissy P, what have you been up to?
Well, the other day we managed to get back into Descent again after about a year. I was going to say 6 months, but it has been about a year hiatus of not playing it.
It's more to do with my severe lack of coordination when it comes to arranging events. Yeah. and there was a reason. So we had a family reason that we kind of stopped.
We must play Descent about
and then
6 months later.
Yeah.
We must play Descent.
Must play it.
Another 3 months later, we'll play it. Yay.
There's this thing that gets in the way that's really, really frustrating sometimes. That's what's the name of it? Oh, Life.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that'll say. That'll check.
I prefer not to have one.
Yes.
But no, so we ended up playing that. Started off absolutely amazingly strong. Almost got completely annihilated in the first room. As me being the tank, jumping in, attacking the wrong enemy, and then taking 19 out of my 10 health. In one round, which was great. Managed to slowly recover back from that.
You did tank very well because we all would have died if you hadn't have done it, basically.
Yeah, and then I got to literally, I think it was like the final room against the boss fight, and then I took one too many, and then it just ended amazingly. Normally, you can fight to the death.
So you lost.
We lost.
Yeah.
You lost. Yeah.
So
that's the highlight of that one. Yeah, we lost. Yeah. Yeah, we lost.
2.5 hours later.
2.5 hours later, yeah, we lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right.
But we all kind of said like how much we forget how much you enjoy that game. Because they use the 3D terrains in such a way that when you fall down a secret room, your character actually falls down a secret room, and you can't get out of it until you figure out the room where then you find a ladder or a rope or something like that. So the way that they use the terrain, like we
had the map going underneath itself.
Yeah, so it was
awesome.
Back
we had like a bridge,
the secret room, and things
That's
like that.
cool.
And on one of the platforms, wasn't it? They put dynamite at the base. So we caught basically these guys robbing loads of stuff, and they put dynamite at the base. So we had one turn.
Yeah.
Was it one turn?
Yeah, and I was like,
I said
I'd rather not stand on this thing here
because
because we've seen them put bombs down, and you were like, it will be fine. It will be fine. One turn later, blown up. Two of us are down in the
you actually
hole.
remove that piece. So
I've heard this before somewhere. One more turn, Dale.
Yeah. But we had a great time, didn't we? Like, it was really good.
I've not played that Descent. I played second edition beforehand. I played it a lot, but I've not
very
played
different
the newest
games. Very different.
Yeah, I like the idea of the 3D terrain, but I was always worried that it might have just been like getting in the way if you were sat across from the table and you couldn't see some of the minis.
No, it works really well. Like we had one scenario where we got to an old haunted castle, and it went up 3 tiers.
Wow.
So when you had to get to the top, you were well above like everything at the bottom, and they do it very, very well.
Nice.
So because I was worried it was just a bit gimmicky.
Yeah.
but actually it makes the
works.
stories better.
It makes playing it more exciting. So as soon as we started playing, I said, I forgot how much I loved the little 3D tile. How much difference it made.
The 3D
So
barricades and the tables and the bookcases and it sounds really silly, but it does make it.
I get it. Yeah, it's better than just a flat surface. Isn't it?
To the point where my kids came in and they were like, "Oh, can we play this again?" Because I've done the first scenario with each of them, and then that was it. So they now want to go through it all again, which is quite cool.
Nice.
So yeah, it was good fun.
Well, I love it.
Nice.
When we playing again? 6 months?
Wednesday.
No, yeah, you guys are playing.
You can't make it.
I can't make that.
But that's the thing with this. Like the original Descent, you had a character.
Yeah.
With this, you change characters.
What, every scenario?
Well, you can. You can pick any character.
You
don't just take one
on
character.
some story missions, you have to take certain characters.
Yeah.
So like this week, we play as 4 players, but a couple of times only 3 people have been able to make it. And because it's all controlled by the app,
it'll scale.
It scales, and like Davey's not ill. Davey's not very well at the moment, is he? So if he doesn't come on Wednesday, Chris can't make it. Me and T can just play a 2-player.
Yeah.
So it's easier to get to
and just continue any character we choose, can't we? So that's
as long as you bring the one character that it
tells
you that you need to bring.
Yeah.
Because there's always one. I think it's always one.
It's
You
usually
need to bring one specific character, but it's good to mix around.
Really
I did play one character to death, and I got all his skills, and then I was like, let's play something different now.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So you can mix
Nice.
Nice.
So Rob, what have you been playing?
I had a massive board gaming weekend, which was awesome. So I played a couple of games that I'll talk about later, but for me the big one was War of the Ring, the card game. I love Lord of the Rings. Kerley is a master of War of the Ring, but I don't want to play him at that because I don't think
I've never played it. I really.
That's the thing. I haven't played it. I watched you guys play it once for a bit. I popped round for a cup of tea, and you guys were playing it, and there was just stuff everywhere. And my brain hurt looking at it.
I got spiked. Yeah, Curly's good at it. Yeah.
So the card we played. Curly had the card game. He never played it, and my wife was out at the weekend, so he came over and we busted it out, and it was brilliant. Really, really enjoyed it. It's nothing like War of the Ring.
No. Nice.
So the fact is, War of the Ring.
Did you kick your ass at it though?
No. It was a learning game, and he has been taking it easier on the learning games, which is quite nice. But it was equal going into the last round.
Nice.
So it was really close, and you actually play it 4-player. The main game is 4-player. So each of you control 2 factions.
Yeah.
So the inverted commas good guys would be the elves, the dwarves. So one person will control elves, dwarves. The other person will control the Dunedain and the hobbits. And on the other side, one person will control the beasts and the orcs, and the other person would control like Saruman's forces and the Nazgul. So in each level is different. It's really thematic and it's really quick.
Is it?
So it was so quick and so much fun that I think we did the learning game in like an hour and a half.
It's alright. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So it was really quick. So had a fab time playing it. And like I say, on the last turn though, Kerley did win all 4 points.
Nice.
So yeah,
he was holding back. That's what he was doing.
He has a habit of doing that.
No, because a lot of it's card draw, especially when you're playing at 2-player. When you're playing at 4-player, everyone will have you'll be able to play the right cards.
Yeah.
I drew 3 cards. One was Merry, one was Sting that you can only use on Frodo, and one was a Dwarven Axe that you can only use on Gimli. And it was like, I played my one card.
Yeah.
And Kerley had like Saruman in reserve, the Witch King in reserve. He had like a couple of Balrogs. It was like, there's literally nothing I can do. So he won it that way. But it was really good fun. Yeah. Really, really good fun.
Nice.
So looking forward to playing that again.
Nice.
Very good. What about you, Dan?
I taught my eldest Patchwork. Which she loved. I've got two kids, 7-year-old and 5-year-old, but the 5-year-old's at that age where he wants to get involved into everything, but teaching him a board game is not quite there yet. It's like he wants to move all the pieces and he doesn't want to wait for his turn yet. He's getting there, but not yet. Well, my eldest, bless her, she wants to learn more board games, but obviously she can't do it while he's around. So he was shipped off to a party. You go and have fun on the soft play. Don't hurt yourself. Thanks, son. Bye. And then we sat down together and played Patchwork, which was really, really nice. UA Rosenberg game, 2 players only, about making a patchwork quilt. And it's super, super simple. It's either on your turn, you either advance around like a spiral quilt in the middle of the game board, and the more spaces you advance, the more buttons that you receive, and these buttons are basically the currency. And with the currency, you use that currency to buy tiles that go around the outside, round the outside off the board. If I ever say round the outside, I can't say it once. I have to say it 3 times.
Otherwise, the universe will implode.
It will implode. I'm playing Tapestry the other night, and I'm saying, right, so the scoreboard's round the outside. And that's it. Everyone's looking at me as if I'm like, what's wrong with you? He's not saying anything. You have to say it, as I can't carry on. So
your ears are bleeding. And
yeah, I'm sat there like sweat's dripping down, but it's not normal sweat, it's black tar sweat until you say it. You buy the tiles and then you make up a patchwork quilt, and we played. Sometimes we played twice, and I didn't deliberately go easy on it, but she won. So obviously that must have been a bad day. I can't say it's a bad day because I haven't gotten it.
It was a good day for her.
It was a great day for her. She loved it. But I suppose if she wins at that age, it makes them feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And it's like, yeah, I want to play another one.
I find if you want your kids to enjoy a game, let them win the first one.
Yeah, let the Wookiee win.
That's what I keep telling myself about everyone I teach how to play Wingspan. I'm letting you win. I want them to win. Not that I'm just terrible at it and they always beat me. Not at all. No.
Nice. Played also a bit of Voidfall as well, which I still love. Rob's pulling a face. Why are you pulling a face?
Because it's just the hotness.
You haven't played it yet.
I don't care. Everyone talks about it. It doesn't matter.
One day I will play it and then I'll make a decision. Until that point, I'll remain on the fence.
I was dead against it, and then when we were at Essen, they were like, "There's a co-op mode," and I was like, "Ooh,
there is. There is a co-op mode."
It is peace.
No, I only say it because whenever our group gets into the latest hotness, if you say anything bad against that latest hotness, they all get really wound up.
That's why you
said. So that's why I do it.
Yeah,
I've got nothing. I don't even know what Voidfall is, but the fact that if I say something bad about it, JP and David, they get really angry. So it's quite funny. It's like wind them up and then just watch them go. It's brilliant.
It is. I try not to get too emotionally invested in the hotness, in fear that I'm going to go, it's amazing. Put it in this is my number 1 game forever, and then all of a sudden, the honeymoon period ends, and then you're left with the game, and you think, do I still love it as much as I did? And then I've done it with a couple of games in the past, and I'll try not to do that anymore because sometimes it's easily done. But now, Voidfall, yeah!
So you're all in.
That's it. I'm completely invested. Yes, I love it. Should we get on to the main event?
Let's do it.
Let's roll the thing. Do this. So the main event. I feel like I should put on one of my voiceover voices for this.
And now, in the blue corner,
Sci-Fi versus Fantasy, the death match. That's it, folks. We have to decide between sci-fi or fantasy. One is going in the bin and one will live forever. But which? Let's discuss, shall we, gentlemen? I am a massive lover of sci-fi. I like fantasy stuff, but I'm more a sci-fi fan. I don't know about you guys.
I'm the same exactly as you, mate.
Same?
Sci-fi, yeah.
Yeah? I don't mind fantasy. Rob's looking at me
I don't play fantasy.
I'm trying to figure out how I genuinely feel, because movies, things like video games, all about sci-fi.
Yeah.
But board games, I think I'm more about the fantasy.
So that's interesting. How one can be one different to the other. I would imagine. Well, for me, it would be sci-fi all the way. But I do like fantasy. But if someone, had put the two in front and said you have to pick one or the other, it would be sci-fi every time. But in this board game industry, there is sport for choice. There's a lot there. What about you, Chrissy P?
I am a fantasy man.
Yeah. Through and through.
Yeah, I've played loads of different games. It always leads down to what am I going to play next. It'll be a fantasy game probably.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Nice.
It'll always lead back to some massive campaign that I'm doing or D&D related stuff. So I'd always loop back to that anyway. So it is. I love sci-fi. Obviously, I always did the Star Wars one recently. Love me the sci-fi stuff. But no, I'm a fantasy man.
A dungeon crawler in space just doesn't quite feel right.
Yeah, no.
Do you know?
When you say it like that, it doesn't roll off the tongue as well as something as a fantasy setting. But then, I've never played D&D ever. And people in my kind of extended group have said, come on, let's play D&D, or you should do a D&D, and you be the DM, you'd be great at it. I'm like, I probably would do all right at it, but I don't really have any interest because the setting doesn't interest me enough That being said, I've recently got hold of a copy of the Fallout RPG.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get that going. So, but because that's more of a sci-fi setting, I would prefer that over.
But I guess if you're trying to envisage a world, everybody who's pretty much a geek has played a Fallout or knows what Fallout is.
I hope so.
So if you're trying to do,
Oh God, I hope so.
yeah.
Otherwise it's ruined.
if you haven't, what have you been doing?
Yes.
So when you're creating a D&D world, if you've got that backdrop to play off of, you don't have to explain what a fat man is.
Yeah.
Fat man, fat
Yeah.
boy.
Oh, we know. It is a fat man.
Fat Man
right.
is the launcher. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you,
Handheld nuclear launcher.
Yes.
yeah. So you don't have to go into great detail about that.
No.
Whereas if you're describing a magical sword,
Yeah.
you have to go into massive detail about
Yeah.
what that magical sword is. So yeah, I'm guessing from that point it would make it slightly easier.
Yeah.
But I'm all about the fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine it's down to the experience you kind of have over the table. I mean, me personally, I connect better with a sci-fi setting or atmosphere than I do over a fantasy one. It doesn't mean I don't like the fantasy one, but I just prefer to be on a spaceship looking at this. Oh look, there's an alien race. Let's go and discover it. But rather than on the floor where I'm in a forest and there's a magical enchanted elf. Not that I don't mind that, but that's just me. What would make you purchase a sci-fi game over a fantasy one? What is the niche, the USP over grabbing a sci-fi over a fantasy one, or the other way around?
All the way around. I don't know. Well, for me, I just going back to loving sci-fi, and I love space stuff. So if I find a board game on space, that's it.
Yeah.
Get space. I love things in space, and I want it.
Yeah.
So that's I don't know. It's difficult for me to try and because I do like a fantasy game, but if anything, I'm more attracted to playing space games. So I'll probably definitely own. Well, do I own more space games? No, I don't. But
Contradiction.
yeah, but in the group I play more space games. If ever like Clips comes up or something, I'll definitely play it. But I can't say what makes me want to buy one. I mean, it's because I love sci-fi, and that's it. I think for me, I just love the concept of sci-fi, space, aliens.
It's just difficult
exploration
when you're in a shop and you're presented with one or the other, and then it's trying to look at the back of the box.
I've never thought about this before, and I've just kind of thought about it then. If it's an exploration game,
yes,
space. If it's a combat game, fantasy.
Why? That's interesting.
Because whenever I do a combat in a sci-fi setting, I turn into a stormtrooper.
You mean you miss every single shot?
I miss everything.
Yeah,
It's kind of hard to miss when you're swinging a giant axe.
I like that. Yeah.
Do you know? Like, in the games that I've played where it's more sci-fi based, I don't seem to do as well.
Yeah.
So technically we're probably just rolling dice, and I'm not landing what I need to do. So there's no actual physical reason for that. It's pure chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find most sci-fi stuff rolls down to long-range combat.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, it's always lasers, pew 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 from far away. Whereas fantasy is more, I'm in your face and I'm
I think sci-fi is like you're setting up your ships to. I'm going to put these cool torpedoes on. I put these laser blasters on, and I'm gonna, I'm not gonna send a stormtrooper and get a new lasers jetpack.
Yeah.
When you're doing this fantasy, I've got a magical sword that's got fire with it. Fire or
which
something
is cool
like that.
as hell.
Yeah, but I still think
fire. What more do you want?
I don't know. Homing torpedoes or
magic
blasters.
missile. It's a spell.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah,
but it's interesting what you said about exploration. That you would prefer it in a sci-fi setting than a fantasy.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I think I'd be the other way round.
Would Twilight Imperium work in a fantasy genre?
It's funny you mention that because I've tried to think of it that way and tried to think would it work in that way, and it probably wouldn't. It would, but it'd be on a ground setting because it couldn't be up in the air. So it just would it be the same? I'm not sure. Have you played Twilight Imperium?
No.
So I've played a lot of it. I imagine you have.
I've played a few times.
You've played it
a few times. Yeah. Never again. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, I can't stand that game now.
Really?
Yeah, after spending many hours of my life playing it.
Yeah.
And then never getting them back. Harsh.
It's
I came last and I had an 8-hour day. This was lovely. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I figured out what I'm going to do the next time the group is playing Twilight Imperium. Then.
Yeah.
I'm just going to come around with my Xbox. I'm going to tell my wife that I'm playing a video game. I'm playing a board game and I'm going to be out for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Come around and just bring my Xbox. And I get to sit there for 8 hours and play my Xbox.
Yeah.
That works for me.
You should play a game that you haven't played before, knowing that it lasts around about 8 to 10 hours, to see if you can complete it faster than the game of TI and see where it gets you.
That's a good challenge.
Yeah. Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
Can I complete Starfield before TI?
Yeah, speed round.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Yeah.
I mean, it took me a mere, 90 hours to do it?
You
It's not
put
too bad.
some time into
You
it.
did. I stopped for a bit. I've been playing Tetris of all things. Yes, I'd rather play blocks than go around and search galaxies. You have no idea why, but I'm going back to
Because
that.
sci-fi.
Because sci-fi.
Because
yeah.
Tetris is more interesting than sci-fi. You said it here, folks.
Yeah, going back to topic. TI on the floor fantasy setting. I'm not sure it will work.
Well, I think with TI you got all your research and all your technical stuff you got to do.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
do that in a fantasy. I mean, you would do it with magic, I suppose. That's how you twist it.
Or you go to the shop.
Go to the shop and buy something. But
Yeah.
this is what we're getting like the research symbols and upgrading.
The broader games work better in space. The games that take you on a journey are probably better in fantasy. For me.
Yeah, that's
That's
a
a good
good
answer.
shout.
And I
That's very good.
love
going
a
deep.
story. I love a journey. I love, starting off really weak and like an RPG.
Well, it's like Lord of the Rings, isn't it? Lord of the Rings is a movie about going on a walk.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Exactly.
But it's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, and especially I prefer co-op games, and when you're on something like that, like when you're like Clips, for example, like you're in your own section of space and you don't really interact with anyone until you bump into them or go and attack them. Whereas like the you're on a journey together. Like there's a band. There's
So with the Clips, like you said, you have that disconnect.
yes,
You have that disconnect. You're in your own little dance space until someone comes and bumps into you, and then you have to then engage.
Yeah.
But with a fantasy, absolutely, with fantasy, it's much.
and I think that's just why I prefer it.
Yeah.
Is because I'm not left to my own devices.
Yeah.
See, I like a story, but I'm not that bothered about it. I think that's why I do prefer a space, like simple kind of space game.
Yeah.
But I do like a good journey game. But again, the story is good, but it doesn't really flick my switch.
That's not
it's
what-
not a sci-fi thing.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, like, I've done Descent. I've done games similar. I've done Gloomhaven, and it's that kind of feeling that you're going to go, oh, I've got to be in this for 10, 12, 15, 20 sessions on the same journey. But really, I could probably be playing something else.
No, and nowadays, like the choice of game is just massive.
Yeah.
Like if you go to any kind of convention or shop, you'd see just how many games are available, which is a staggering number. But I'm just controversial. The artwork is better in fantasy.
I'm not sure.
No?
I'm not sure.
No.
It depends who the artist is. But I see. Yeah, that's I can admire a lot of decent fantasy artwork, but then take for example, Everdell. Everdell is
Beautiful.
fantastic, but it's a fantasy-based setting, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But if you put, Descent 2.0, can't judge on 3.0, I would pick Everdell's graphically over Descent. Different two games, of course, but graphically, Everdell's would be better than Descent.
Both fantasy.
Both fantasy. Going to sci-fi and crossing the two over, if I had to pick another gorgeous sci-fi game to go up against something like Everdell, then Voidfall I think is gorgeous, but that's Ian O'Toole. I think Ian O'Toole is a fantastic artwork.
It does look
artist.
joyful. Yeah.
It's fantastic. There are many, and there are like Anachrony, for example, and going back to a Mind Clash, and their games are beautiful. I'm not sure I would agree, but
For me,
I love fantasy artwork as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a tricky one, that.
It's very tricky because I'm thinking of what sci-fi games I've played, which is basically Eclipse, Twilight Imperium, Nemesis, and all that. And the fantasy games, and we just played Beast, and I think the artwork in Beast is awesome.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's pretty, yeah.
And every fantasy game, they put all the arts on the cards and everything. With sci-fi, I don't think it makes so much effort. Some of them, I can't say that of all sci-fi, because that's not fair, but the ones I've played.
Straight edges.
Nemesis is probably the one that comes closest.
Which
They've
is
got quite a
more
lot
of
of
a
work.
futuristic thing anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I can't argue with that. Look at Beyond the Sun. That is a blocky kind of sci-fi kind of game that doesn't, where you look at. I suppose with fantasy, the artwork has to be pretty because it helps with the setting and it helps with the engagement.
Yeah.
But sci-fi, I suppose, like you said, if it's blocky, then it looks like the sci-fi has the sci-fi edge, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I do love the artwork of Warhammer 40k. I love that artwork. It's just amazing.
It is pretty.
So yeah, no, there are caveats.
Yeah, I look at 40k and I think, yeah, you're pretty, and then I look at the price tag and go,
Yeah,
it's expensive.
it is expensive.
Very. So, what games do you think would work well crossing over both genres? So we talked about TI a bit, but what game would you think would work better across both genres? So you could put something in the same setting and it would work.
Imperial Assault.
Yeah, well, Imperial Assault is Descent.
Dungeon crawler.
Yeah.
In space that
Yeah.
works very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's more to do with the IP
Yes.
than anything.
If you took away the IP and said this is a sci-fi game, but it plays like a fantasy game, would it have sold as better as better? Probably not, because it's not the Star Wars brand.
Mainly,
It works very well.
I think it would do if you had the app with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need some sort of story narrative in a fantasy game. The ones that I've played, and if you can get that in a space genre, then for me that would cross over quite well.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't necessarily have to be Star Wars, but there would have to be. Now there is one that I've got that I haven't played yet. You've played it, ISS Vanguard.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Now JP's lent it to me. We haven't played it yet, but I don't know whether that's.
I suppose you can cross over to a fantasy. It's very so you think it's story driven, so but all in space.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could change it to science fantasy, just change the story, right? So that's what
And it would work.
And it would work. Yeah, it would work. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe something along those lines. That it's more of a campaign rather than a one event game.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I think Anachrony would work well in a fantasy based setting, where it's a sci-fi setting where Earth's going to get hit by an asteroid, and then you've got so many rounds, and then Earth's going to get hit again, and you've got 4 sci-fi ideologies that are all kind of fighting over Earth. But you could easily be put in a fantasy setting where you've got elves and you've got orcs or whatever. But then it's not this massive asteroid. It's just perhaps some other evil being that's overtaking the universe or the forest or whatever, and would still work in the same kind of setting. And it's and then you can incorporate it that way. But I've always said many times, I'm a massive fan of Mind Clash, and I think that even though they love a bit of sci-fi, I think even when they touch fantasy, it still works. Like a little bit of Trickerians is a bit of a fantasy-ish kind of topic.
Perseverance as well.
Would Perseverance work as a fantasy game if it was put on a
kind of is. It's got dinosaurs in it.
Yeah, it is. Is it? What does that? Is that both? Does it cross over?
I think
both?
it does.
As it stands. Yeah, I think it does.
When we were in Essen, I saw the little saddles on the dinosaurs. I was like, do you know what? I think I might be back in here.
What about you, Chrissy P? Any games that you think would cross over both genres pretty well, or do it already?
I don't really know. You learn back into it. If you changed, Fallout, the board game, is sci-fi esque.
Yeah.
Change that to post-apocalyptic world into other environment.
Yeah.
Change guns to other things.
Blasters.
Or change all the guns and stuff to bows, arrows,
Yeah.
magic stuff.
Yeah.
Would it be the same game? Pretty much.
Have you played it with the co-op expansion yet?
Yes.
Is it good?
It's very good.
Yeah.
It makes it so much better, so much more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though it's slight rule changes, different cards, different events, obviously, and it's just generally a bit of a nicer tone on the table.
Yeah.
Because otherwise obviously when you do the normal one where we do it semi-co-op or you do it full sort of non-co-op, it's very much I find ourselves steering away from each other, not going too close, playing your own separate game. Whereas now, all of you go to this objective, do this thing, big fight, go.
Yeah.
Which is I find more enjoyable. But again, I'm a co-op person, similar to Rob. I do prefer my co-op games. But yeah, in that sort of environment, that you could change a couple of bits and pieces, and it would still essentially be the same game.
Yeah.
Really underneath, do the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Go here, do quest.
I've just thought of 2 that potentially work.
Go on.
Zombicide.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably.
Yeah. But they've done it, haven't they?
They've done it, yeah.
Is it Black Horde?
Black Horde was
that's
like
the fantasy
fantasy.
That was a fantasy one.
Do you know what? I had no interest in that
No.
until it flashed up Thundercats, and I was like, I'm in. I don't care.
I didn't know they did a Thundercats.
There's a Thundercats expansion for the fantasy one, and I was like, that is amazing.
With the
because I saw Ghostbusters for the normal one.
Yeah,
I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And the other one, Clank.
Clank. Yeah. Yeah. Clank in space.
Clank in space.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same game or not. I haven't played it, but I'm assuming it's very similar.
I only played the modular one. I played it when we were at the
I was thinking, how is Clank like that? And there's like, no, there's actually a game.
There's a game Clank in space.
Wait.
There's this massive sign. It's neon. You can't miss it. It says in space.
Trust me, I'll miss it.
So I've only played the modular one, which was the one in the. I can't remember which one. I think it was the dungeon one. That's it, Catskins, yeah. I wasn't a big lover of it.
I really enjoyed it.
I didn't mind it. It wouldn't be something I would play over and over again. I don't know why. It wasn't.
They're very different games when you play it over and over again, which is really weird.
Yeah, I can imagine. But then I suppose I like that. I suppose if every game is different, then that's that offers variety, doesn't it? And there's never want to play.
There's nothing better. Than realizing you're not going to make it back, so you just intentionally messing up people's games.
Yeah.
Sorry, T.
No, you're right.
I am 15 tiles away. I have no hope of getting back, but I can get in T's way.
Nice.
Yeah, I love Clank. I think it's good. But the only thing that annoys me with Clank is the AP. I can think about my turn. Once I've found my turn, I've drawn my next cards. I've looked. I know my next turn already, and I've got to wait 4 turns to come back to me. And it doesn't really change. Because the shop will change to draw the cards on the deck, but that's it. And I'm thinking it's taking a long time just to get to me, and I'm like, bam, done. And then it goes. It's quite a long, but it is a fun game, and I do love it. And it's a great starter game for people who want to get in the hobby.
Yeah, I need to play it again maybe and see how I get on with it. But I only played the one with the modular board. But
I was thinking of a game. You could do Eclipse, but change them into sea boats or boats, and they go across the sea and explore sea tiles, and change the aliens to sea monsters.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, maybe. And you can upgrade your cannons. I don't know. I'm just trying fire cannons.
Yeah.
So that's probably one game you could probably turn into a fantasy. Well, Scythe, that's probably quite a fantasy kind of sci-fi, isn't it?
I think
sci-fi tractors.
It hits both, doesn't it?
Because it's mechs.
Yeah.
And it's kind of in a fantasy land, isn't it?
Yeah. Eastern Europa.
Yeah,
and it's like it definitely crosses over both.
Yeah.
Or Expeditions, obviously the newest one, which I haven't played yet, which looks interesting.
And if anybody's playing the podcast drinking game, Battlestar Galactica.
Nice.
And Unfathomable.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Fantasy,
so
sci-fi.
I played Battlestar Galactica and didn't like it. I know. And most people that have played it and I say that, they go, well, what have you said?
Yeah.
You're a monster.
How dare you?
I know. Get out. Yeah, I know. I just didn't like. It wasn't my thing. But I do love Lovecraft, and I think if I played Unfathomable, I think I probably would enjoy it.
They're different games, but obviously they are similar.
You played both?
Yes.
Yeah.
But they work on both levels. Obviously, if you play, if they kept it as it is and just put it in the Lovecraftian world, wouldn't work. So they are different games.
Yeah.
As we've talked about many times on this podcast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Are there mechanics out there that would make you pick one over the other? So what mechanics work best, I'm trying to say, in a fantasy setting other than a sci-fi setting, or vice versa? Like, for example, like going back to Anachrony, obviously in Anachrony there's time travel, and there's a time travel mechanic in the middle of the track where you're moving from one space to the other by sort of borrowing resources from your future self, which works. It would work fantastically in the sci-fi setting, but to try and incorporate that in a fantasy one, it probably wouldn't work very well as a mechanic. Would you know of any mechanics that would work well in its setting, but probably wouldn't work well in the other? It's tricky, isn't it? It's tricky.
Now I'm thinking.
That would work though. The time travel, I think.
How would you do time travel in a fantasy setting?
Wizards.
Wizards. Just wizards. Yeah, I suppose that's
Wizards and sling rings, like kind of style thing.
So this is where my knowledge is just gone. I don't know enough on fantasy.
I get that you could time travel in a fantasy setting.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Anachrony is you're playing your game against somebody else.
Yeah, very much so.
So I just think more, like I said, like fantasy, I think you do together, whereas sci-fi you kind of do alone.
Yeah.
So if you had that, for me, the sort of the co-op sci-fi journey, where you're not a ship, where you're a character.
Yeah.
I think that works because we haven't played Nemesis, the co-op version, or I haven't at least.
Yeah, I have.
How that would go in comparison to...
It's like you said about Dead of Winter. I don't think the Nemesis fully co-op version works as well unless you put a defector in there.
Yeah.
and then you put a defector and then it works really, really well. But also I think going on to that defector mechanic, I think that works better in a sci-fi setting than it does in a fantasy setting.
Yeah.
But then what kind of character would you have in a fantasy setting that would work, that would fit the defector mechanic? Thief.
Yeah, that would work. Assassin.
Yeah. So it could be done. It could be done.
Because there are a lot of like battle games, aren't there? Like, you know, defend the castle mechanics.
Yes.
That could potentially work. Defend the planet.
Defend the starship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then maybe those sort of mechanics. I know Adrian's talked about, is it Great Wall? He's talked about a lot of attacker and defender mechanics.
Yes, yeah.
Maybe something like that.
Tower defense kind of.
Yeah. Maybe something along those lines, or something along the lines of Rebellion, Star Wars Rebellion.
Yeah.
Where, you know, hidden base.
Yes.
Hidden fort, hidden...
Have any fantasy games replicated, like, Rebellion? I can't think of any of them.
I don't think many games have replicated Rebellion.
No.
On the setting.
Yeah, TI, that's about it. That's only loosely. It's, Rebellion is unique in its own right.
Yeah. Or something like Terraforming Mars.
Yeah.
Where you appear on the shores of a new land or whatever and kind of do it that way, but...
Terraform a new world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terraform a country.
Yeah.
I was thinking more, if you get right down into the nitty-gritty of what you do in a game, I think in sci-fi versus fantasy, I think when you do certain things in sci-fi games, they're on a much grander scale. So in sort of games where there's like an interact mechanic, where in a sci-fi game, if you're doing that, like you're interacting with a massive thing, you're interacting with a planet or something, and the details can sort of get lost. Whereas in a fantasy game, I'm interacting with a bookcase or with a person.
Yeah.
And you can get much more into the actual the main details of obviously what you're doing, rather than I'm just doing a thing with a planet and I got some reasons.
Next time I go to my bookshelf in my own house, I'm going to go, I'm interacting with my bookshelf.
Yeah.
I only ever interact with the bookshelf.
Someone get me a dice so I can do a skill check.
It will change your life.
It will change.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just wait until you roll a 1 and then headbutt in the bookcase.
The books fall upon you. Yes, nice. So let's go around the table. What is your favourite sci-fi game and fantasy game? And out of those two, which one do you like more? T.
Straight on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The best sci-fi game. I've got to say Nemesis for me.
Yeah.
I'm really close to saying Outer Rim as well because I love that one as well.
I've not played Outer Rim yet.
You need to play it.
I know, I need to play it.
So good.
I know.
If I go for what I played the most, it would be Outer Rim actually. So I am actually, for my sci-fi favourite game I got is going to be Outer Rim.
Outer Rim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many I love though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantasy game. The most fantasy game I played was Gloomhaven, I think, for me.
Yeah. You play a lot of it.
I did. Well, I played quite a bit of it when I had it.
Yeah.
With the group as well. But I couldn't do Frosthaven. It's because it's too much. I think I just did Gloomhaven too much. I thought Frosthaven was very similar.
Dude, Mansions.
Oh, Mansions.
Oh
yeah, you know, the biggest game I've got.
Yes, that one.
Brain just melted. Yeah, no, definitely. No, you are right, Rob. Yeah, you know me so well. Definitely Mansions, yes. Second edition, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
So if you had to pick between the two, Outer Rim. You've been tied to a chair.
It's like trying to pick your favourite kid, isn't it?
It is. I will still say Outer Rim because I love my sci-fi.
Because you love sci-fi.
I love my sci-fi.
Can I have your Mansions then?
No.
If you're
Not the
clearly
amount of
getting
money
rid of
I
it.
pumped into that Mansions, you'll not have none of it.
I'll buy you a pizza.
That's a good deal. That's a good trade. That's a good deal. Nice.
No. I thought about it, but then, yeah, it's Outer Rim. It's still the sci-fi path.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, but why? If you had to choose between those two, and they said to you that you have to pick one or the other.
Because I'm
going to throw the other one away.
I think Rob's right because the second edition of Mansions is all about you got to do a whole story, and you do work together and you do it, and you do a whole story, and you do investigation and the thing. I sometimes just prefer just get a game on and then just go against other people and play it quicker,
play
and
it,
it's a lot
done,
quicker,
pack it away, it's done.
and pack it away, it's done. But I find fantasy games because you've got a bit more of a setup sometimes, haven't you? I mean, it can be argument of a lot of different games, but general fantasy games are generally
the worst part about
setting up games,
setting the damn game.
I've heard that the setup is
that was awful, wasn't it?
That was horrendous.
Yeah, I think definitely Ultimate because of this. It's just simplicity of
It's
that.
just brilliant.
And I love mansions. Please don't get me wrong. And but
Just don't justify it to us, mate. Justify it to your mansions box when you get home. I didn't mean it.
Sorry,
I didn't mean it, baby. I didn't mean
You'll walk in there and they just go, why? But why?
What an Outrun. Yeah.
Chrissy P.
Well, if we go Sci-Fi first, I was going to say Outrun as well because I actually love that game. But to say something different rather than to keep saying the same thing over and over again, I'll probably say Nemesis.
Okay.
I really like playing Nemesis, especially with you guys, because it's brilliant. Because we're not the type of people that gets really backstabby about everything. Tambo, not included.
Yeah,
Tambo's fine.
He's
good. He's good in that game. We don't get really arsy with each other when something bad happens or when you betray someone or whatever. It's the type of game that, well, once it's done, it's normally over quite quickly after the bad things happened.
Being that I'm fairly new to the group, who is the most backstabby person when playing Nemesis?
Well, that's not.
Silent hand raises.
Tambo went
to be
for a
honest,
phase.
I've only ever played. I think I've only ever played it with Rob, Tanner,
When you say
and
it's a
Clarky.
phase, do you mean like you bring his parents in and his parents look at you and just go, it's just a phase?
When he was younger, he was a different man.
Yeah.
Tambo had a phase of the games that he was playing. He was always the betrayer, or he was always the person who was like, yeah, let's team up. And then all of a sudden, like Game of Thrones, but it's games that you're meant to do it in.
Yeah.
But we all just obviously hammered tea for doing it.
Yeah. No one will ever trust me ever again.
No.
And I'm actually quite a trustworthy person.
He's a very trustworthy person, to the point where his nickname was Backstambo.
Yeah. It still lives on.
So he's better. He's better. It was a phase. He went hard at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like there was no holding back, was there?
No.
So
Does Backstambo ever come back out again?
It does occasionally, yes.
and he comes out with a smile for some reason.
When the situation calls for it.
Yeah.
Love
You know he will arrive.
Love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nemesis for that. But yeah, my favourite fantasy game of all time is still Gloomhaven, just because of the sheer amount of hundreds of hours that I've spent on it. I played it with my friends.
Value for money. That's
Many evenings of a couple of beers, junk food, and just playing with your mates. It's brilliant, fantastic game. And Frosthaven is becoming a close.
So Gloomhaven still beats Frosthaven at the moment.
At the moment, a little bit because of not the setup time, it's the pack away time.
So if you were strapped to a chair, tortured, you had to pick one or the other, had to go in the bin, it would be Gloomhaven that'd be winning.
Oh yeah, Gloomhaven's going to win, hands down.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
So that's one for sci-fi.
Yeah, one for fantasy.
One for fantasy. Rob?
I don't own many sci-fi games.
Just the ones you play.
Get out.
I've been sat here trying to think of all the sci-fi games that I own, and all I can think of is Imperial Assault.
That's why you think of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's the only one, which is basically
It's basically a fantasy game with a
Descent
sci-fi
in Star
paint.
Wars. Yes.
Yeah, that's all right. It still counts as sci-fi.
So for me, that's the only game I'm pretty sure that's the only sci-fi game I have.
Really?
Well, haven't you got like card games which are Star Wars?
The Resistance or
Yeah,
something?
Yeah,
I've got Star Wars,
Deck builder game,
Star
isn't
Wars
it? Oh, yeah,
deck builder,
Yeah.
but it's not.
It's not
It's
like a sci-fi board game.
It's
It's
not
a
in
deck
space, is it?
builder
It's
or
not-
whatever.
It's a
Yeah.
sci-fi game, mate.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It counts.
Okay, so I'll go that then. I'll go Star Wars: The Deck Builder.
Yeah.
You love that game.
You do love
I
it.
love that game. It's really good and it's brilliant. It's quick and it's not
Yeah.
complex. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
No, I love that game.
It's
When we
brilliant.
played it at the 24 hours.
Absolutely
That was brilliant.
So yeah, I'll go that. At the minute, my favourite fantasy games.
The Witcher.
The Witcher.
I knew you were going to say that.
One day you'll invite me.
Yeah, one
And
day
one
I'll
day
get
I'll
in
play
as well at
rules.
one point. Yeah.
I know the rules.
rules.
I know,
You know
but then
rules.
you've got the Elder
What's the
Scrolls
rules?
as
What's the
well,
rules?
and that's
What's the
not fair. That's not fair
If
either.
you want to play a game, you request to
You
play
would
it.
request to play? Yeah, very true.
I like to play The Witcher, Rob.
I want to play it right now, Rob.
You got tomorrow off, haven't you?
Right.
Yeah.
I've got
No, not tomorrow. Off Wednesday.
I've got
Wednesday off.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yes.
So have I.
No.
Oh.
We've got
Witcher
Descent in the evening.
Yeah, I don't mind. I got
Why?
nothing.
No,
I hate
Would
the
you want to play that?
Play
Working.
Witcher?
The Witcher. I'd like to. Do you know what? At there was this event called the 24-hour board game marathon. Have you heard it?
Yeah, I don't know if I just mentioned it.
I've never. I
I
did hear. I don't know, but I
Not
did
a
see
sponsor.
it. I did see it at there. Was it your copy? Did you bring it? Did you?
Carried it through this giant box through. Somebody else had it as well.
Yeah, I thought
But
a couple
they
of people
carried it
had
down, put it down, and then went, yeah, let's play something else.
And then you brought it in as the holy angelic choir.
I did.
Make way, people. Make way.
Part the seas. People move. The game must go down.
Joel from the Devon board game podcast.
Yes.
Came in. He was like, "Yeah, I've got this. I'm probably going to sell it now." Just because he had the base box, and then we saw all the expansions and stuff, and what a difference he made. He was like, "Yeah, I'm probably going to sell it because it's massive and it goes on for ages." So I'd either say The Witcher, or if anybody else is playing the podcast drinking game, Too Many Bones.
Too Many Bones. Try and get another one I've not played yet. That I need to play.
That's probably my favourite fantasy. To be honest, it would be the Elder Scrolls. Because we got to play it in Essen.
Yeah. I saw the pictures because I didn't go to Essen. I don't know if anyone knows.
Neither did I.
No.
And that's the game I really wanted to play more than anything.
I would have played that. Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah.
As a fantasy, it was a.
Was it?
It was a journey. It was Too Many Bones, but it was.
Forgive my ignorance. Was it just a reskin?
No.
No.
Because that was the biggest question we had when we were playing.
Yeah, quite. Yeah.
And when we were speaking to the Chip Theory guys, they were saying it is Descent. Not Descent. It's Too Many Bones 2, but then they got the IP for it. So they said this was always going to be Too Many Bones 2.
Yeah.
But the battle maps are bigger and the enemies are much more varied. And like I love the Elder Scrolls. So for me, that's like the perfect. Because I love Too Many Bones and I love Elder Scrolls.
Again, was it fully cooperative?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a 3 scenario quest.
Right.
So 3 gaming sessions. Then it's done.
That's it.
Yeah. So
but what about replayability?
Because then you start a new character.
Okay.
And it's 3 scenarios and everything else. So the replayability of that game is going to be huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me that's perfect fantasy game for me.
Not jealous. Sorry,
I've got it pre-ordered, mate. So I backed it. It took me 30 seconds to back it. I didn't even look. I just went, all in, done.
All in.
You. Yeah.
Nice.
And then they sent me the bill, and I was like, oh, goddamn.
How much does that set you back?
340.
Nice. But hey, if you love Elder Scrolls, then you're gonna do it, right?
Because I recently got Skyrim as well, and that's very good. Very, very good.
Sci-fi game, Imperial Assault. Fantasy game, The Witcher.
Yeah.
You're tied to a chair. One's going in the bin in immortal flame, and the other one is staying.
I love Star Wars, but The Witcher. I spend way more on The Witcher.
You're going clearly on monetary value.
Star Wars was bought for me as a birthday present by JP.
Yeah.
And The Witcher cost a lot, so I'm going to stay with The Witcher.
Stay with The Witcher.
Yeah. No. I've played a 2-player. I've played a 3-player, and I've played it on my own.
The Witcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's bloody brilliant, and I could get so much replayability out of that. Unfortunately, you do need somebody else to play Star Wars. Sorry, the Imperial Assault. That not Imperial Assault.
The card game. Yes.
Yeah. So you need somebody else to play that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just don't want to talk to anyone.
This is very true. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. You can't argue with that. So it's 2 for fantasy, 1 for sci-fi.
Yeah. Come on, Dan.
So
you're even out, I'm sure.
I have the deciding vote.
This is going to just go 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're going to have
we're
going to be no clearer.
We're going to have to call in JP and do the deciding vote.
We're going to be no clearer than when we started.
Do you reckon? Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for listening, folks.
The choice is yours.
My fantasy games. This is a tricky one with a fantasy setting, because when I associate the word fantasy and board gaming, I always think of a Gloomhaven-esque game. Although there are other games with a fantasy style setting that work very, very well. Everdell, for example, is a good fantasy-ish animals, yes, but it has a good, strong fantasy theme. Is Everdell my favourite fantasy game? No. Everdell, does it have an unnecessary 3D tree? Yes, it's completely unnecessary.
Did everyone buy it for the 3D tree?
Yes, absolutely, but it's completely unnecessary. But people had it anyway. But yeah, it's still pretty. But yeah, fantasy-wise, it's a very, very tricky, hard decision, because I keep going through different things. But if I had to say fantasy, and forgive me if people think it's a loose-based fantasy, but I'd probably say I'm going over to Ewing, I'm going to Rosenberg, and I'm saying Caverna. Because it is a fantasy-esque setting, because it's dwarves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some people have said over the years that going back to its older brother Agricola, that the theme of Agricola is pasted on. It's just you're moving discs and cubes. Yeah, I suppose you are. And Caverna's not really any different, but the artwork and the art style does look fantasy-esque, and it has that vibe. So you're moving discs around, but you're the way that you're having to go on an adventure. You're going on adventures,
just quests, and
within a worker placement competitive environment. So I've scratched the fantasy itch because I like fantasy, but probably not as much as some of you around this table. But I like it. But sometimes I want that itch scratched, but I don't want to go down a 40, 50-hour campaign to do it. Well, if I played Caverna with, say, 4 or 5 people, I've scratched the itch, and I've played a good worker placement game and a competitive game as well, because I'm not overly massively a co-op fan. I have to have a strong theme for it to grip me, otherwise I'm not really there. That's why I like Frostpunk. Frostpunk is I
really want to play that.
I would gladly teach you.
I really want to play that.
You don't jumped out of the chair.
I know. I will teach you. I will teach you. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it.
I like to play Frostpunk. So.
Well, I had a game up on the group. I had to cancel because unfortunately I am working. But I think it's a long game. It's a good sort of 5 or 6 hours it takes to play, but it is worth it, and it is really good. But I like it because of the strong narrative. I like that form. I like going sort of generally how board games can be a form of escapism. And if you go to the universe of Frostpunk, you are escaping completely into this world that almost feels kind of real because of the way that the pieces look and the story as it unfolds, and it feels like you're there. And I like that about Frosthaven, but I also like that about not Frosthaven, sorry, about Frostpunk, and I like that about a co-op setting. But I don't have many games that I like that are cooperative. So if I was to say fantasy, Caverna, because I love worker placement, and it's just got that theme loosely. Sci-fi wise, this is again a tricky one. I
thought he was going to go for Voidfall.
No, I love Voidfall. I love Voidfall. I love Ian O'Toole's artwork. It's just amazing. But for sci-fi, for me, it has to be Anachrony. I just love it. I love the setting. It's basically the same as my answer for Caverna is the same for Agricola. I just love the way it looks. I love the way it plays. I love the way it feels, and I feel that I'm part of this sci-fi made-up universe for 3 or 4 hours playing this game, and it's truly beautiful. There are other games that have that kind of thing that I like, but not as much. I think maybe the mechanics of Anachrony win it over for me. I think there's just the whole time travel element is just so unique, and you don't get that in any other games. If I had to choose between the two, then sorry folks, it would be Anachrony. Yes, hands down. So that does mean that we are at a two-way split.
JP, get in here. Solve this.
What would others in the group say? What would not over games, but over the genre specifically?
I think Sci-Fi would win.
I think Sci-Fi would probably win out.
I'd say that because there's a couple who just love Terraforming Mars, Kerley and Becky.
Yes,
they love it.
Yes, as do I.
I just thought of it, and that could have been my favourite series as well.
Yeah.
So
I do love it, and I'm new to it.
But Kerley also loves Lord of the Rings.
That's true.
He does, and he's got the card game. So I don't know. I think and Becky loves Averdale and all those games.
Yes,
as well, so
very true.
I don't know. I think the answer is we're very lucky that we don't have to choose one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for me, it's fantasy would win all day long.
Yeah. I mean, what would Davey choose? What would Adrian choose?
I don't know about Adrian at all.
Yeah, Adrian's a tricky one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think he'd probably go fantasy.
Yeah, I think he would. He's more of a Marvel side of.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I
think JP.
Really
I don't know about JP, but he'd probably be Sci-Fi, wouldn't he? I would have thought JP.
No, we'll say he's fantasy.
Yeah, but that's too many bones, isn't it? Of course it is.
Yeah, true. This is very true.
But then he's also got Voidfall, so
he does love his Voidfall.
But again, he gets confused. He thinks board games are Pokemon, doesn't he?
He just tries to get them all.
Yeah. That used to be me until I changed jobs, and now I can't afford it.
Right, but then you don't need to buy all the games anymore because
JP does it. Yeah, thank you so much. Lovely.
Every week you just post a list of games and go, I want to play that one and that one and that one. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's my week done.
Nice. So we could choose a winner because we're at a split. But hey, let us know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let us know. Should we go on to our next segment? So, would you rather? Here is the ultimate question. Would you rather have unlimited access to all sci-fi board games, past, present and future, but only one fantasy game? Or would you rather have unlimited access to all fantasy games, past, present and future, but only ever have one sci-fi game? I know my answer.
I think I know mine.
Yeah, I think I know mine.
Yeah? Chrissy P, you can start. Do you know?
I'll take all the sci-fi games
Take-
and just leave
all
me
sci-fi.
and just leave me with Frosthaven.
Oh, I'm quite surprised at that.
Frosthaven.
To be fair,
Yeah,
if you're playing Frosthaven, you haven't really got time to play any sci-fi games.
Very true, but
This is true.
over the course of this episode, I have been sat here thinking in my mind
You've been
of what
converted.
games. No, I still prefer fantasy
I
games.
can barely look at you, Chris. I'm not gonna lie.
I was going to say something I shouldn't then. Language in my brain. Keep back. But I think about the games that I play obviously every week. Singular, I play Frosthaven every week, almost a guarantee. So that's my fantasy edge. Every other game I seem to play with everyone else really is a sci-fi game. So Descent, not Descent. What am I? That's the wrong way around. Star Wars, all those Nemesis,
Yeah.
all those.
Azrim.
Yeah, and literally everything like that. I play a lot more of those on sort of switching around every so often. We just play this one, play this one, play this one. But I always will go back to that. So I only need that game.
Yeah.
A, because it's going to take me 20 years to finish it.
Yeah.
But
I did not see that coming, I've got to be honest with you.
I'm not angry.
I didn't see that
But
coming either.
also, Frosthaven will last you 20 years anyway, wouldn't it?
exactly, that's what I said. I've got so much time to finish it. That's all I need. I'm happy with that one game. But then I've got the wide expanse of the universe to play with all the sci-fi games.
I'm not angry.
That's fine. He's just disappointed.
I'm with Chris. I like that.
He's just disappointed with me. I can see it. I feel like I've let my father down. Honestly.
Go on, Rob. Explain why. How come?
Why? Because all the games that we play together are all fantasy. It's like, screw you.
Sorry.
For me, it would be fantasy if the one sci-fi game I could have would be Outer Rim.
Yeah.
I love that game.
Yeah.
So, for me, fantasy.
Yeah. Sure.
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy. T?
I don't know, I just think there's probably a lot more fantasy games out there than there is space games, right?
Do you think?
I don't know, it might be. I don't know, but the
That's what I
stories
said.
of the
I've
fantasy.
been racking my brain and I keep leading back to a sci-fi. There's another. I find a fantasy game and then I find 2 sci-fi games and then I find a fantasy game and then I find another 3 sci-fi games.
So I've just
So
found.
I keep going. There's more of that.
There's a fantasy one that I've just remembered that I've got in my collection that's literally like right in front of my shelf that I can't miss every time I wake up in the morning. It's there in front of me, and that's Role Player. And is it the Keith Mateo make that game? I can't remember the publisher's name now, but that's a really, really good fantasy game that doesn't take 40 hours to play. It's just one night, and it's really, really good. And it's character creation before D&D, so you're creating a character with dice on a certain. You're trying to manipulate the dice to get certain points, and it's really, really fun. And then I look at that shelf and I go, how many are sci-fi? And most of the shelf is sci-fi.
Yeah.
But then that makes me think: is there more sci-fi games than there are fantasy ones?
Or is there just more that you're into?
Yeah.
So you're looking at your shelf.
This is very true.
I think I'll go space. I'll go space.
Space!
So sci-fi, and I'll have one fantasy game, which will be Mansions. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for
This is
reminding me.
because you're too financially invested.
100%.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm with you, man.
And it is a
I'm
nice
with
collection
you.
to have, to be fair.
If they made a Mansions of Madness 3rd edition, would you be excited or
In
annoyed?
space. In space.
It's Mansions in space.
I tell you what. I tell you what. Now I think about it, you could do it on like an event horizon
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah.
where you all go on the ship and you got to figure out what happens. And
Not mansions,
slowly
this
go
big
mad.
spaceship. Yeah,
That's it. Like a Warhammer 40k ship that's like the size of a size of a planet.
Yeah.
These different scenarios that happen in there.
That's no moon.
If you're listening Fantasy Flight, that's the way forward with mansions.
You could be like an away team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
be
that'd
amazing.
be cool. Yeah, it'd be really cool.
Myself
Yes.
would definitely be Sci-Fi. Yeah,
I'm
hands
shocked.
down. Are you really
I'm shocked. I didn't see that coming. I'm not gonna lie.
You can like even go back to like my childhood and go like and just growing up over watching the things like you look at a film and you think in the 80s/90s and you think fantasy. This is before the Lord of the Rings days. You kind of go towards the Dark Crystal or Labyrinth. And Willow, that kind of thing. And I enjoyed those movies. They're okay.
I want Star Wars.
But then but you know what, I said I was a late bloomer with Star Wars. I didn't really appreciate Star Wars until I was about 18. And I didn't watch it because my family weren't into it. We were like a Star Wars. I know. It's like your family asking to have your mully rice warmed up.
Is that not the way you do it?
That's the most offended I've ever seen you look. And it was Mother Rice. It wasn't even anything else.
You don't heat it up. I'm sorry, you don't. You have it cold.
I thought we were staying off political.
All right, next scones. Jam cream. Which is
Whoa. You if you're going to go in on that argument, you have to start
I'm
with
not going that way.
how you call it. Is it a scone or a scone?
It's a scone.
It's a scone. No, it's a scone until you've eaten it.
Then it's scone. Yeah, exactly.
Oh no.
That's it. That's
Oh
it.
dear. Good job you can sing better than
What was I saying? Yeah, so films, Labyrinth, okay. But then some of them, my dad went, son, watch this. Terminator 2. Yes, son! Dun 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 dun. And that was it. I was in.
Yeah.
You can't beat a bit of Arnie. Terminator 2 is the best film.
But that's what I'm saying, like
Sci-fi.
films like you said now, the fantasy genre, Game of Thrones, stuff like that's obviously huge.
Oh, Game of Thrones is fantastic though.
But like you said, before Lord of the Rings, the only time you'd ever see an elf would be in a really geeky show that wasn't very popular. Not very popular, but had like an underground, like a cult following rather than a mainstream following. Yeah. But like for me as a genre, sci-fi in films and series is what I always go to. Yeah. Board games.
But that's an interesting switch to go from that to I want to go on an adventure. Give me a sword and go. Yeah. And your preference. I think with me, with my childhood, is that the sci-fi in me is kind of just spilt over to other things, other hobbies that I've enjoyed doing, and I think that's why I like sci-fi more. But it's very interesting to switch from one to the other.
But books as well. It's all fantasy books in my collection. Very, very few sci-fi books.
Did a lot of the whole Ian Livingstone stuff and the was it the Fire on Warlock Mountain and the Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Oh yeah.
When I was growing up as a teenager, did a lot of those and really liked those. But then I suppose I wouldn't read hardly any sci-fi books. Just did a lot of the fantasy Choose Your Own books. I quite like those.
So one doesn't necessarily correlate to the other.
No. But stick a film in front of me and someone says, right, do you want to watch a fantasy film? Well, that's 3 hours long. Or do you want to watch a sci-fi film that's an hour and 20? I'd probably go for the sci-fi. Because I find that fantasy, sometimes you have to be in it for the long haul. And that's not necessarily just film, that's also for games as well. Yeah. How I see it anyway. But then, Descent 3.0 with 3D terrain.
It's the way forward,
It's the way forward. I'm all over it.
It's the way forward.
I'm all over it. And now it's time for our penultimate turn. What are we all looking forward to, folks? T. What's happening? What's coming up?
I got Descent coming up on Wednesday, I think.
We have.
Yeah.
Shiny.
Could be a discussion for another long game as well if you wanted. But that and Anachrony at yours, mate.
Yes.
On Friday.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't played Anachrony in ages.
So I was going to ask you if you played it before.
I have, but it might need a quick refresh. But I have played it.
I have to do a full teach anyway, so...
that's perfect for me then.
Have you not?
I've never played it.
Would you?
Yes.
It's heavy.
I'll try it.
It is heavy.
Would you? Yeah.
Are we doing it with expansions or
not with the Fractures of Time?
teach. So.
Yeah, so I'll probably put in sort of with the timeline. I'll probably do the advanced timeline where you flip the timeline tiles round. So you've got to then, when you're putting the warp tiles in, you have to choose wisely, because where you put them down might influence what penalty or incentive you know what I mean? That variant.
Yeah.
And I might add another module in. I don't know, but the new player who's around the table is pretty good.
Right.
She's only just come into the hobby, and I taught her Wingspan, and it was like deer in the headlights, and that was about 6, 7, or 8 months ago. So now I've taught her Gemini, and she's loves it. She loves it. Which is one more. It's like we're like a religion.
One of us.
You drop into the bridge, you run out, you get as many as you can in. And one of us. Love it. No, bless her. She's done very, very well, and she'll be around the table, but she'll enjoy it. She played Voidfall and she loved it, so she signed up for Anachrony. So
Must be like the Voidfall, so
a little bit. Nice.
Rob. Well, as I said earlier, I had a bit of a board gaming weekend this weekend, mainly with my children as well.
Nice.
So we played Marvel Dice Throwing, which my daughter loved, my oldest one. But then we were going to play Descent. They wanted to do a family Descent. And I was like, cool, we'll do that. And then they got reminded that they had to carve their pumpkins. So they buggered off and do that. And I remembered that for my birthday, I got 2 new characters for Ashes Reborn. And then I remembered that I had the co-op / single player module. And I thought, why haven't I played this? And I thought, right, I've got a couple of hours. I'll get it out now and I'll just have a look at it.
Yeah.
So I had a look at it, and then I thought, well, I might as well just set it up, see what it does. And of course,
so you've done a Mickey Flanagan here. You've just gone, I'll just go out.
Yeah,
and then you've been out.
And then before I know it, I've picked the character. I've picked the character. I've got a deck, and I'm like, well, I might as well just play it. I might as well
I've
play
done
it.
the effort. I might as well.
And I played it, and I'm not very good at learning games on my own. Typically, I'll get JP or somebody round to help me learn a game. So I've done very few on my own. And yeah, it's the game is the same, but obviously with the sort of enemy mechanic. So there was a couple of things that obviously I struggled to figure out, but I got there in the end, and I had an absolute blast.
Nice
playing it, and it was quick. It wasn't too long. I got 2 games in about an hour and a half.
Decent.
So yeah, looking forward to kind of getting that out again with different characters and trying that out. So yeah, nice. Ashes Reborn for me.
Nice.
And Descent obviously with T on Wednesday.
Don't forget that.
And we've just realised that we're both off on the same day, so we might get a sneaky little Witcher in as
a
well.
Sneaky little Witcher in.
Yeah, why not?
Nice.
But we'll see how it goes.
Nice. Chrissy P.
Well, Friday will be the weekly session of Frosthaven, which is always lovely.
Yeah.
But this Saturday, for the first time, I'll be playing Burncycle.
I forgot about this.
Yes.
Which I've never played before. I have no Scooby-Doo what it's about, apart from some sort of hacking. And that's all the information I have.
I thought it was about bicycles on fire.
No, it's not. It's basically Metal Gear Solid.
So I keep being told like this, but then
you know when you whistle and then you get someone and you run around at the same time.
Yeah,
it's that part of Metal Gear Solid, not the shooting and.
I was going to say, do I have to play it in a cardboard box?
Yeah, I'm in the box.
I'm
Snake. Dun 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 dun.
I'm pretty sure we did a scenario where one of us did hide it. There are hiding boxes. There are.
I'm sold. I love this.
So it's really weird because it's not very combative. So you have to kind of plan, right, that enemy's going to move this way, that's going to move that way, I can nip through and kind of get away that way. So yeah, it's really good. I think you're going to love it. I think you'll kind of look at it and go, what the hell, how are we going to do this? But I think you'll really enjoy it. So yeah, we're doing it, I think it's the first time we're playing 3-player, I think.
Yeah, it's me, you and JP.
Me and JP.
Yeah, so that'll be good. Awesome.
I completely forgot about that. But yeah, it should be fun.
I love Metal Gear. I really should give it a go. I love Metal Gear Solid.
It's one of those games that if you think you're going to go in and just smash your way through a room, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
I don't mind that.
But if you've really got to think about, if I go into this room, can I get to the safe box to hide? Can I nip round? And you've really got to plan out your route.
It's the
and
7
stuff
P's.
like.
Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance.
Exactly, and
nice.
we've always performed piss poorly.
No.
So it's kind of figure out, but I think you're gonna love it. I think
it'd be cool, man.
So good.
Yeah.
No, I've heard JP rave about it a few times, and
the last time we played it, though,
put a session up.
We got decimated in about 45 minutes.
And it's pretty, right?
right?
It's a pretty game.
Yeah, and because JP's the collector, he's
Yeah.
got the magnetic standees and
Magnetic standees?
yeah. So because it's a chip theory game,
Yeah.
there's loads of chips underneath.
Yeah.
So you've got magnetic minis.
Yeah.
That stick to the top of the chip pile.
Yeah.
So when you move them all around, and then when you do knock one of them out, you lay them down, and it's really So
That's pretty.
it is very pretty.
Yeah. How much did it cost? 1 million!
About that, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
nice.
I don't want to get in trouble with his wife. So I think they were free.
As far as I'm aware,
It's
they
just a free
cost
add-on.
nothing.
Just a free add-on. Nice.
Looking forward to that though. It's gonna be good fun.
That'll be cool, yeah. So I've never played it before, so that'll be a nice introduction.
Nice.
What about yourself, Dan? What have you got coming up?
I am learning and teaching Septima by Mind Clash Games. I've not played it yet. Mine turned up. My Kickstarter turned up last week, so I'm super excited to give that a go. Again, it's super pretty and
It's fun.
you played it?
We played a trial game because Becky bought it.
Yes. Yes.
And I typically don't get on very well in Mind Clash games.
Yeah.
They hurt my brain.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And me and Becky were like looking at each other like we're like fully grown up gamers and everything.
Nice.
It was brilliant.
Yeah. You played the basic game.
We played the base game.
Yeah.
That's what they recommend you play as a learning game.
Yeah.
There are a couple more elements to chuck into it.
Yeah.
But I think you'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm going to try and do it without the basic game just to see how I get on, to see if I can do it as one complete collection. But the people I've got around the table should be okay. But we'll give it a go and see what happens.
You'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah, the pieces are gorgeous as well. I love it. And I like the theme.
It's a pretty board.
Yeah. Vila Vargas does the artwork for it, did Tricerian as well, and Tricerian is just lush. So very much looking forward to that. And also we've got Anachrony at the weekend, which would be very, very good. And probably more Voidfall. Oh, that game, Voidfall. I don't know if I told you about it.
No, I've not.
I've never heard of it.
Have you not? No, please see other podcast episodes. Love it. And with that, our final turn is wrapping up and victory points are about to be scored. Thanks everyone for listening. If you've enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe and review on your podcast player of choice, and we ask you to share the podcast with at least one other person who you think would enjoy this. Also, if you want to support the show and become a subscriber to help shape our future content, you can visit our page on Ko-fi. Or if you want to get in contact with us, all the details are in the show notes or on our website. We'll be back again next time with another episode, but for now, whose turn is it?
Mine!